All right, well, welcome to Partner 5 and 5, Robert here at Night Solutions. It's great to be together with another integration partner, and this time we get one that is a bit more tangible, a bit more real world. So welcome, Ed from DroneDeploy. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you, Robert. How are you?
Yeah, doing really well. Always great to have another partner on. Like I said, something a bit more interesting, something we can touch and feel a little bit with what DroneDeploy does. So in case anyone hasn't seen it before, the idea behind Partner 5 and 5 is 5 questions in 5 minutes, or as best as we can stick to 5 minutes for Procore Integration Partners. So let you know what's out there, what you can expand Procore with, and what the options are. So you may have heard of DroneDeploy before, or you may not have, but this will provide you a bit of a light conversational overview. So with that introduction said, Ed, I'm going to jump in for the first question for you, which is the all-important one. Is fundamentally, what is DroneDeploy and what problems is it seeking to solve for those in construction?
Yeah, no, thank you. I think the first place to start is want to explain really what we do, because I think a number of people will hear the name drone deploy and instantly think of drones.
Yes.
In actual fact, it is, we are a reality capture software platform, and we're a unified reality capture platform. What that means is we are surfacing field insights through a number of in-field devices, and that could be a drone, but equally it could be a 360 camera. So think of drones for your exterior, 360 cameras for ground and interior. So
Gotcha.
structure's gone up, then
Yep.
the 360 camera becomes really important for that interior capture. So the whole idea is that we're capturing those insights with, location-based, time-based information, and moving that information to stakeholders in the construction ecosystem primarily. And that's really to allow
Awesome.
stakeholders to understand what progress has happened, verify what subcontractors have done, and communicate internally, but equally externally as well to the client
Awesome.
community as
So
an
I guess we're saying drones are the tip of the iceberg, and there's a lot more underneath it. But obviously, everyone loves a drone, unless it's, I guess, flying over your own house. But
example.
it's obviously a great way. And I'm assuming, obviously, outside of the kind of scope of what we're talking about, but DroneDeploy would probably work with a lot of non-construction industries as well.
Absolutely right. I think it's fair to say when we look at our largest vertical, it is construction. However, there's a wealth of industries where we're at scale at a global level. So,
Mm,
for instance, energy. Think of large renewable solar farms as an example, which we're doing a lot
yeah.
of at the moment, looking to verify the actual installation of solar panels. Large mining sites, very prevalent, obviously,
Yeah.
in Australia.
Yes,
Uh,
definitely.
oil and gas facilities management as well. Again, think of roof reports. So it's
Yeah, accessing places you previously
yeah,
had to get on a slightly compromised ladder to get up to. So that
exactly. I think
that sounds awesome. That's awesome. Well, look, let's stay focused on the construction side, and let's jump to the second question. If we're a construction business, whether we're kind of a developer owner or a construction business or a subcontractor or someone else in that sphere, if we're specifically looking at construction and then we look at the customers that you have, what roles inside those construction businesses are typically either getting the most value from DroneDeploy and its products or are using it the most as well? That would be really interesting to find out.
yeah, I think we've brought out a unified reality capture playbook for construction, which really
Awesome.
covers all phases of construction. I'll touch on a
Mm,
few kind of examples where we work, for instance, in the tender space. So if you think of a tender, being able to get a visual capture from the air, for instance, of site logistics, how are they going to
mhm.
set up the site?
Yep.
How are they going to check on, site logistics, the width of a road? You can actually measure from the drone platform. Moving into pre-construction as an example, being able
Mhm.
to quantify through the digital surface model the ability to look at the cut and fill through a quick 30-minute flight. What you don't want
Gotcha.
to get into is over excavation of a cut and fill
Mm.
analysis.
Oh,
It
yeah, we've been there.
costs a
That's no
lot of
fun.
money.
Yeah.
All the way through to, for instance, we had an example on a high-rise residential here in Australia, where we're working with a fit-out team. So the
Mm.
fit-out team will be looking at, again, verifying progress, but equally, if there are defects, let's say within a bathroom of an apartment complex, and there's 10 that have defects, you can actually compare where the installation was behind the plasterboard of the utility, so they can defect
Mm.
precisely as opposed to ripping down the entire.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
that's really good. And that's important also for long-term facilities management. knowing where to cut the hole in the wall and where to kind of modify the electrical or plumbing work as well. So, and there obviously is an example there, like you said, it's not just drones, so interior work there as well with 360 cameras and that type of location detail.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like a digital asset library. So more and more we're looking at, assets, buildings with a 40-year kind of life cycle. It's having that data in perpetuity. So you've actually got to look back at that data 10, 20 years down the line, which is important when issues arise.
And it might be stepping a little bit outside the conversation, but I always end up drifting. So we'll go with it. Obviously, what you guys are doing is capturing a huge amount of data about, obviously what was constructed or the state of things.
Yeah.
We've heard a lot lately, especially over the last sort of 12, 18 months, about digital twins. I think AI has kind of stepped in and taken some of the limelight. But are you guys working with, digital twin software systems to actually feed that information in to create that digital replica of the actual built product?
100%. Yeah. It is one of those terms that is, I think, means a lot of things to many different people.
It does, as does AI.
Yeah, as does AI, exactly.
Yeah.
We'll come to that in a second. But certainly, in terms of what we're presenting, it is a digital representation of the asset, both in 2D as well. And
2D does get forgotten. It is still very reliable.
Exactly. So if you think of for instance, a facade of a building, being able to automate the capture of that site, and then raise issues and then push that into a Procore, and we'll come to that in a second, is really important. So again, for us, it's having that 360 view, from the roof, from the vertical side and the interior as well.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I guess drones is just one of the ways you can capture it, but there's obviously many other ways. But let's, lots of fun kind of toys by the sound of it as well, which we all kind of enjoy, or at least I do. So, but let's kind of take that conversation in the Procore direction. So obviously we work pretty much exclusively with Procore. It's our specialty. So we've got lots of customers who are, enjoying using Procore. We work with them to optimize it as well. But let's say we've got a Procore customer, one of ours or someone else, and they're looking at DroneDeploy in terms of its solutions. What is the benefits of having those two together, and how does that integration work with Procore?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's really important integration in the industry. I mean, the key thing to remember is an embedded app. So it literally is you log into your details from our app and you're straight into the Procore instance. And the real value is, for instance, being able to leverage the information and data that we're capturing from the field straight into a Procore instance. And that could be photos, maps, elevations, and we're surfacing that onto the photo module, or it could be raising issues. So the example I just gave of raising an issue on the facade or raising the issue on the construction site from a horizontal capture, or indeed from an interior, it's out of the box and it directly lands onto.
Yeah, that's awesome. And being able to create it back in Procore from DroneDeploy. That's, and not everyone knows about the embedded applications, but there's a number of people that are using that now where you're still in Procore. It feels like it's Procore, but it is DroneDeploy, but it's all part of the one experience. So that's a massive plus for me.
Yeah.
I think you had more to say, so don't let me cut you off too much.
No, all good. I think the other point to raise as well is, being able to ingest information back onto our platform, which is absolutely crucial. There's two examples again, from the drone and indeed from the interior space as well. So being able to take the 2D drawing, so you're checking if there's any deviation from plan, for instance, when you're going through you're against the as designed versus the as built. So that's crucial. But equally, being able to take the BIM model from the 360 interior platform and having a split screen. So, for instance, when we acquired Structure Site and now we're at the cusp of integrating it fully into DroneDeploy as of next month, we're now got a position of being able to have a unified platform, but from a ground perspective, compare the progress against the Procore BIM model as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point. Just want to kind of hammer that home with anyone listening. So Structure Site has been a long-term Procore partner, and I can't remember if it was last year or a little bit earlier. DroneDeploy acquired Structure Site, and from what I understand, they're coming together as one thing. So hence, try not to make it just feel like it's just drones. Structure Site's got the full shebang as well, but that's going to be a completely singular product going forward, Ed.
That's right. Yeah, we're excited about it. So we've got our big event coming up, DroneDeploy conference next month, where we will be making the announcement. We're in the final throes of delivering that, and we're very excited to be announcing that. I think a lot of customers that we're hearing from are really just asking for that single app, less app fatigue, so the ability to use one app for all of your reality capture needs as well. And again, all of the out-of-the-box integrations that you would expect. Some very exciting news.
Yeah, that'll be really cool. And are you guys working with the robots, the dogs?
We are, yeah. We touched on that. I alluded to it earlier, so that's again exciting. So we acquired a company called Robotics 2.5, maybe 3 years ago.
Yep,
a bit less, out of Auckland, and very excited with the capability that they bring. Again, from construction to oil and gas to mining. And the use case there is just the ability to use the Boston Dynamics robot to effectively automate the walk. So our big thing for DroneDeploy is automation. So automate the flight of a drone, automate robots. So you're putting a camera or live camera.
Yeah, that'd be so fun. As long as you don't bring the Boston robot versions in that look like people yet. That's a bit too much.
Not yet.
We'll stick with the dogs.
Not yet. Exactly.
Yeah, I've seen those things do backflips and all sorts of things. So anyway, we could probably talk about that all day, but let's jump into one more, because if someone's listening to this and they're thinking, look, this reality capture solution that DroneDeploy's got seems like it's got it all covered. Considering the next step, what's it like for a customer who signs up with you guys, purchases the product from a rollout implementation perspective, and then life cycle of using the product? How are they supported and made sure it's successful and ultimately delivers a return on investment?
No, absolutely. It's really important. I think the key thing for us is, we've built the platform with the enterprise in mind. So when we look at a wrap of a service for large organizations, we're looking at supporting them with a full implementation. We do field days, so we actually look at how the tech is implemented. We've got a support layer around that, so a help desk, help pages. We've got some great content called the Autodesk Academy, which is for beginners, advanced users of the platform, but also consumers of the platform as well. And as I said, we do a lot of the implementation. It is hands-on.
Yeah, I can imagine. And then you've got the gear as well. So how does that work in terms of getting the gear or the stuff that works with the system?
Yeah, again, it's kind of, we understand that not all organizations will have their own pilots or 360 cameras. So we can fly on behalf of our customers, call it Uber for drones. So
that's really cool. I didn't know that.
Have drones, and we're starting to look at 360 cameras in the same way.
Right. So essentially hire as needed kind of concept.
Yeah, exactly. We are a software company first and foremost, but again, through feedback and through understanding the requirements of our enterprise customers, we know that we need to come to market with a full and it's that
and I think particularly, I know you guys look at enterprise in terms of larger businesses, but as you kind of creep down to the sort of mid-size, I think there'd be a lot of companies, I'm thinking the ones I used to work with, that sort of sit in that what we call tier 2, where they might be prepared to invest in a couple of hardware items, but they would probably prefer to hire them over at least a short-term period to see the value. That's really good to know. Can you hire the dogs yet, or that not quite?
You can.
You can. Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. Through various means, but more challenging.
Okay.
Again,
I have to give you my address, and you can have one turn up for me. But anyway, that sounds like you've got it nailed. And that's the thing we often talk about with Procore. I mean, we back the business on Procore, so we know it's the right product. But it's kind of once you make the purchase, that's when the hard work, the really important work starts, because it's all glitz and glamour up until that point, but making sure you execute. And ultimately, as a business, you need to be able to sit back in 12 months, 2 years from now and say, we spent X on DroneDeploy or Procore or with Night Solutions, and this is kind of the tangible return, so that return needs to be there. So that's great. Let's jump to the last question, and this is always my favorite question, I think, is what's coming next? I think you've got your conference coming up, but is there any kind of interesting or fun, cool things where you guys are heading either 6, 12 months, or what the long-term plan is for the business in terms of new features, new types of things or capabilities that you're going to add?
Lots to share.
Lots. Okay.
So no, I think
I'll share what you can,
not
without getting in trouble.
Yeah. I'm sure I won't. I think to jump on the bandwagon, but it's really important. We've taken a considered investment into AI. So we've got a number of industry reports that are ready to go now. So being able to check the deviation from plan of a conduit placement before the concrete pour has been placed. We've got that available today. We've got the same principle with AI and solar construction progress as well.
Okay.
Ready to go now. Where we're starting to go over the next 3 to 6 months is around ingesting and delivering more of that machine learning capability. So we've come to market already, but a lot to share there.
Yeah, that's great.
We're going to be coming out with location-based work detection for our ground or interior platforms. So being able to check and stack trades and reports against a floor-by-floor delivery of specific trades. So that's exciting. And then more automations. The way we've got three sort of visions, I guess, three core goals. One is to automate. The other is to deliver, I guess, more unification. So again, executed largely on that. And the other is intelligence. So again, more in AI, more machine learning, but when it comes to automation, drone in a box. So next, what you're going to see is more automation for a drone actually flying out of a box, which is going to be a lot more straightforward.
Yeah, that is. You don't want to do the whole setup, get all the fans set up and all that sort of stuff. It's really interesting because I was watching the keynote from Groundbreak, which is Procore's national conference, annual conference. And they're obviously, which is not unique, pushing towards AI. But I think what's really interesting in the way that you talked about the AI there is it's quite complementary to Procore because its AI is really going to be focusing on what was the plan, what's actually happening, find me this information, the specifications, or I think the example I gave in the keynote was, what does the geotechnical engineers, water level say it should be at? We've found it higher to really discover that. And then you've got DroneDeploy and its kind of reality capture where it can go, all right, that's happened now. Let's see what the process actually was in terms of what was delivered, not just the planning, which Procore's obviously got covered. So that's a really nice kind of connection between the two. It's almost like a handoff from one system to the next. So that sounds really exciting. So lots to watch. I guess I'll have to wait for the robotic man to knock at the front door until you guys get there. But I'll be most curious.
Not quite.
I might put him to work as a butler though, but we'll see how it goes. But look, I really appreciate you spending the time with us. I know we've gone over 5 minutes, but really fascinating discussion to go through it all. I look forward to seeing where DroneDeploy goes, especially the conference coming up. We'll give everyone some links on how to reach out to Ed or the company or find out more. In the meantime, definitely want to check out DroneDeploy and look forward to finding out where you guys go, Ed. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, great chatting. Appreciate it, Robert. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Ed. Cheers.